the way you see things here, though. I mean, is there many people focus on coming on this area in Chapala, Jijic, San Antonio, San Juan Cosala. Is there another place where you would recommend, say, somebody who want to come here and want to spend less money because the real estate is and the price of living is higher here, right? And the real estate is more expensive. Is there a place where you would say, if I would have come 20 years ago and I knew this place that back then, and I would have chosen that place, would you recommend a place where people can go? Not in this area where it's overpriced already?
In English, we always say, go west.
Go west.
Go west.
All right.
That comes from back in the cowboy days.
Right.
And it's the same here in Mexico.
It does apply.
So instead of Chapala and Jijic is getting more expensive. I mean, just like the whole world is.
Right.
But if you go west and you go to San Juan Cosala or Jocotepec, and especially Jocotepec, you can get wonderful deals on real estate, renting or buying, and it's beautiful, and it's a very real Mexican town.
Right, it's not
Americanized at all.
I see. Okay.
And but they have wonderful restaurants.
And the weather is the same.
The same weather. It's the same lake.
Right.
And it's not that far. I mean, it takes. From downtown Jijic, 15 minutes maybe, with no traffic, because there's a traffic problem between Jijic and Chapala.
Right.
Horrible. Because like all Mexican towns, there's one way in and one way out.
There's only one road.
There's one main road in and out. And, because we have a lake on one side and we have mountains on the other.
Right.
There's one way, and there's not going to be two ways.
So there you go, guys.
So
if you
go
don't
west.
want to get into traffic,
go west.
Go west, and then it's going to be okay, right?
Right. And not only that, I see all the grocery stores that cater to expats and restaurants. You know which direction they're going? West.
West.
Like there's Pancho's grocery store, there's Pancho's West. And so that serves Jocotepec and San Juan Cosala. And all the restaurants, like one of the hot restaurants in town right now in Jijic, because they're tearing down a whole block on the carretera and putting up a commercial center, they're moving west. So everyone's moving west. So that's where you want to go.
Going west.
You want to go there because you're going to get a good deal.
Right.
And in 10 years, your property is going to double in value.
You just have to maybe learn a little more Spanish, right? Like be a little bit further away,
Well, you don't have to be brave to go there. That isn't the word. You have to want to become part of the community.
Right.
Because here's the whole thing. If you want to become part of a community in the United States or Canada and you don't speak English.
Right. No way.
No, it's not going to happen. But if you're here and you hardly speak any Spanish, they will welcome you in. You can sit and have a dinner with a Mexican family and not know two words. Nobody cares. Some of the kids will come out and they speak English and they'll, so it doesn't matter.
They'll be excited, right? Trying to speak
and
their
then
little
you
English,
want to learn Spanish.
Right.
Because you realize that you want to be part of this culture.
Right.
And part of these families. That's what happened to me. That's why I learned Spanish.
That's great. Wow. So another thing I wanted to touch, this subject with you was, now we talk about Guadalajara being so close to this area, and we talk about all the resources and the places and things to do, activities. What do you think about the place in general in Lake Chapala as far as logistics for, say, you want to go to the beach? Is there a beach nearby? How far? You want to go to the forest? Or you want to go to other Mexican cities? Is this located in you think is
Well, I think this is perfect right here because, first of all, if I want to escape, like go to the airport, from my house, I can be there in 18 minutes. Now from Jijic, it's a little further because I'm in Chapala, but for literally in 18 minutes, because I'm going to pick somebody up tonight, and I know that I can leave 18 minutes before I need to be there.
And then you'll make it.
Traffic or no traffic.
Excellent.
But if I want to go to Guadalajara, it's not that far.
Right.
I mean, I can be downtown in 45 minutes.
What about the beach? Is there...
Okay, the beach, there are two kinds of beaches in Mexico.
Right.
Commercial, like Puerto Vallarta.
Right.
Now with the new highway that just opened last month, you can get there from here in like less than 4 hours.
Right. And
on the toll road.
West Coast. The West Coast.
Now, so that's commercial. I'm not, a lot of people are into that.
Right.
Or Manzanillo, Mazatlan.
Right.
You can drive to all of them. Mazatlan is about 6.5 hours from here. But I'm more into, I go to the beach, I rent a house on the ocean.
Right.
And I can walk out on the beach and walk left for an hour and see 3 people.
I see. So
and that exists here.
Right.
And I go to Cuyutlan, and it takes me less than 3 hours from my door.
Yes, it's close.
Yeah, from my door. And I live on the east side.
Right.
So I can literally be there in 3 hours.
Wow.
And it's a tiny little Mexican community with wonderful restaurants and seafood and no one else.
Wow.
So there are 2 kinds of beaches you can go to here.
Right.
And for other towns,
So say, is there like a forest here where you can go and go to the mountains and,
right. Well, right out my window, I have.
I mean, we have. Nice,
they can't see it, but I'm staring at the mountains that are around the lake, and there are trails up in all those mountains. So if you're into going up, of course you have to come back down. That's the scary part,
right?
But there's a lot of hiking around here. But there's also, right in the other side of these mountains are some small towns and another lake.
Right.
That Cajititlan. And you can, and also Ixtlahuacan de los Membrillos is right on the other side of that mountain.
Right.
Cute little Mexican towns with restaurants. And
cheap to live there too, right? I heard.
Oh yeah, a lot of people. There are a lot of people moving that way.
Right.
It's towards the city, but there's still a lot of empty land.
Right. What about Mazamitla? Have you heard of this place?
Yeah, I've been to Mazamitla, and it's very nice because it's up higher, so it's all pine forests.
Right.
That's just a couple hours from here. And also, my favorite is Tapalpa.
Tapalpa.
Which is also up high. Not as high as Mazamitla, but it's also like entering in a whole nother world.
Right.
It's
I heard it's like Europe, right? Like Switzerland.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The Mexican Switzerland is like, it's an area where there's a forest, beautiful. The weather changes because it's a higher altitude, right? It's on a higher altitude.
Yes,
right?
higher than this. And we're already a mile high here.
All right. So basically, you can be in the same day. You can leave in the morning, go to the forest, and then after that, you feel like going to the beach. In 3 hours, you'll be there.
Yes.
And then you wanna come back. You come back another 3 hours. Go to nightlife in Guadalajara and be there another 2-3 hours. Come back. So basically, within 12 hours, you can be in so many different environments.
Exactly.
Right? Wow.
And people say, "Oh, you can't drive at night," but I drive at night.
Right.
I've been driving from here to Guadalajara for 25 years.
So you know that everything.
Everything is safe, and I come home after concerts at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
No problem.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah. You just have to be able to drive at night.
Right.
Some people can't see it at night. I can still see it. I'm thankful for that.
All right. I'm really curious, and this is one of the most important points I want to touch with you is I'm curious, how long does it take you to swim from one side of the lake to the other?
Well,
Have you ever tried?
No, I like to swim, but I honestly, the Lake Chapala is actually one of the bodies of water that people really don't swim in.
Right.
And another thing I figured out about the Mexican culture is Mexicans like to swim in moving water. Rivers,
right.
Ocean,
right.
Lakes don't move.
Right. So it's not too exciting.
No, so you don't swim.
Okay.
This isn't a swimming lake. It's not really a recreational lake because it's a rather shallow lake.
Right.
And right now the water's down, but that's cyclical. It goes down, it comes up. I've seen it come up all the way to the restaurants where they start flooding. Right. And I've also was here 20 years ago when you could walk out to the island.
Wow.
Yeah, so you could walk halfway across the lake.
So you've seen many changes during the years.
It's all cyclical.
Right.
And I know we're having a little bit of a drought right now, and it's a
Right.
little low, but that'll change in a couple of years.
Right.
It'll be high. It was only
It always
only
comes up.
3-4 years ago that the water was coming up all the way to the pier.
Right. Yeah, I
To the
remember
Malecon.
when I first moved
Yeah.
here. That was in 2019. I remember the water was almost reaching that.
Yep.
You know, the tip of the boardwalk. So
Exactly.
it was that high. I
Yeah.
remember. All right. So what about is there a fish that comes out of the lake? Do people eat that here? Is it safe? That you heard of?
There's a famous fish that comes out of that lake. I'm trying
The
to
little
remember the
one,
name.
charal.
Charal.
Yes.
And they serve charales here, but I don't think they come out of this lake. I
see.
think they come from
Farms.
other lakes, from farms and other lakes,
I see. Okay.
or from Michoacan,
Right.
where I believe this lake is clean because there's no reason for it not to be clean. But there's controversy about that.
Right.
I just, most of the fish that you would get, the seafood restaurants here are wonderful, but most of the seafood that you would get from there is coming from the ocean.
Right.
And it's fresh because it comes overnight, every
Right.
night. And you can
Just a couple of
it
hours.
goes to it goes to the market up in Zapopan in
Right.
Guadalajara, and overnight, and it's fresh, and it comes to these restaurants the same day, and it's
Right.
consumed.
Okay.
So, but really out of the lake, it isn't, there are people who eat fish out of there. I just choose not to. That's
Right.
just me.
Okay.